Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Inshallah ta'ala, we will now continue with our audios where we have been discussing some of the affairs that have taken place in our community, and more specifically affairs that have taken place at Masjid al-Salafi, Lidford Road in Reading. And bi'idhnillah, we will continue now to highlight for the listener the real reasons behind the split between the two parties of Salafis. And inshallah, we now will go into audio number 7, and we will give a brief account of how the meeting in Tooting came about, and then what the outcome and the conclusion of that meeting was, and also the aftermath to that meeting. And before we go into that, then we will give a brief and quick recap of the last audio and what was discussed in the audio. We discussed and mentioned the aftermath of the second meeting in Birmingham. And if you recall, we said it was very important for the listener to understand what happened during that time. The reason being because all of the claims that are being made against us from the likes of Khadeejah actually stem from that period. Claims like we have hasad, and we have abandoned Sheikh Rabi, and we have sown seeds of enmity between the hearts of the believers, and we are seeking position. And from amongst us, he says, are possible infiltrators who seek to divide the ranks. And he also mentioned that we have caused iftiraq. All of these claims actually stem from events that took place after the second meeting. And if you recall, then we mentioned that even after a clear attempt at a cover-up from that second meeting, we took the nasiha of Abu Khadeejah and Abu Hakim, and we returned to Reading to move forward with the Reading Shura. And we highlighted that it was actually them who refused our invite for Islah. And we mentioned it was actually them who started to attack us on the mimbar whilst giving their sermons. And we highlighted it was actually them who started to specifically warn against us. So how is it that we are the ones who have caused iftiraq, and we are the ones who have caused disunity? And inshallah ta'ala, we now will speak and go into the events surrounding the meeting in Tooting. So as we mentioned previously then, our elder Hudafa, who knew of the shiddah from the Reading Shura, and is actually a blood brother of one of the Shura members, that being Yazid, then he agreed to have a meeting in the summer of 2017 with Abu Khadeejah, Abdulilah, AbuZaid and Yazeed. And when he came back from where he was living in Medina, we sat with him and we discussed what would be addressed and what our thoughts were concerning this meeting. So after sitting with Hudafa, all of the brothers who spoke with him, from them being myself, Abu Sufyan, Abu Hafsa Asif Khan, Isa, Abdul Latif and Abdul Rakib, then we all was in agreement that we did not want nothing to do with this third meeting. It was clear to us, it was evident to us that Abu Hakim, Abu Khadeejah and Abdulilāh Lahmāmi were not competent to deal with such important and intricate affairs. With that being said, we could not tell Hudafa that he should not and that he could not attend this meeting. He was confident that he could get a positive result, and he was confident that the crimes committed by the Reading Shura would be dealt with. So he decided that he would attend the meeting with Abu Sufyan, and once again, for a reason unknown to us, Abu Sufyan was not allowed to attend this meeting in Tooting, and Hudafa actually went on his own. And after the meeting, then he returned to Reading and he met with us to inform us of the outcome. And he said that AbuZaid and Yazeed admitted that they were guilty of negligence. They said that they did not know what was actually in the documents, all of the lies therein and the deception therein. They said they was oblivious to it. Even though their names were on it, two grown men putting their names to a document and signing a document that they were apparently unaware of what it contained. And they was advised by Abdulilah to give back from the money that they was paid that which they felt they did not earn. And he also informed us that Yazeed stepped down from the shura, and there was now a new shura which would consist of Hudafa, AbuZaid and Abdulilah. We was not happy because there was still clearly a lack of accountability. For example, AbuZaid was still on the shura and he was not held responsible for his actions. And to be honest, at this point, after what we had witnessed previously, then we was not expecting anything from the du'at anyway. It was pretty evident to all of the brothers exactly what was happening. And subhanallah, shortly after, then a message was circulated from the Reading Shura, and it was also posted on the Manhaj Nights WhatsApp group, which basically was a summary of the Tooting meeting signed by Hudafa and Abdulilah. And in this statement, it stated that there was no harshness from the Reading Shura. Once again, totally freed from any harshness, no harshness whatsoever. And it stated that the accusation of dawah money being stolen was unfounded, and those that made these accusations need to make tawbah, and they are accountable before Allah subhanahu. And to add to this, in the most recent attack against the brothers, that being the talk from Abdulilah, then he stated that the evidence was not substantiated. So, let us look a little further at this claim, and let us look at some interesting observations and contradictory statements and actions from our noble du'at. The first thing we will look at is the fact that Abdulilah said that the claims or the evidence were not substantiated. A word that carries the meaning to establish by proof or competent evidence. So we ask you, dear listener who's been following these audios, has the evidence not been competent? £16,500, no internet set up, no leaflets produced, money not spent on the classes by Abu Sufyan, Abu Bakr and Abu Khadeejah not paid for the conference, and nor was they aware that it was under this government project. Masjid activities mentioned to justify where the money was spent, and witness statement from those who delivered these activities stating that they were not paid a penny. So was it not substantiated? How amazing it is that the judge who freed them is the same judge who affirmed that these criminals whom he freed lied on his wife. Abdulilah, have you forgotten the conversation you had with Hudafa on the 8th of July 2017, where you said that fraud needs to be proven and the shura should be removed? Would you make such a suggestion if it was not substantiated? Abdulilah, did you not say that you saw things in the Tooting meeting that were not good, and you told them to give back a portion of the money if they were not guilty of taking any money, and it was not substantiated? Then why was they told to give money back? The answer actually came from Abu Junaid. I had a conversation with him, and he said to me that the amount of money returned from the £16,500 that seems to have just vanished into thin air, then the amount that was given back was actually £10. And according to Abu Junaid, this was only given back because Abdulilah told them to give it back. Told them to give just something back to make yourself look remorseful. Are the people not seeing the trickery? Can you not see the games? And can you not see the clear deception? Will you continue to walk blindly and not acknowledge such clear injustices? And how about the conversation between Abdurrahman Friki and Kareem and Maghribi, where Kareem says that Abu Khadeejah confirmed that AbuZaid Yazeed made some errors regarding the funding and it was not acceptable. So, would you care to elaborate on those errors, please, Abu Khadeejah? Because all we are hearing and all you are saying is that there was no evidence whatsoever and not substantiated. Hudafa told us before the notes were released from the Tooting meeting that one of the points that was highlighted in that meeting was that the mimbar is not a place to make your ikhwah feel isolated. But this point was not released publicly. So why was it left out? Hudafa told me to ask AbuZaid to send me the original note from the meeting, and I've asked him several times to send me those notes. And surprise, surprise, as usual, he has refused to do so. Abu Khadeejah and Abdulillah, how do you explain Yazid stepping down from the Shura? And how do you explain a new bank account being set up? If it is as you say, not substantiated, no evidence, then why the need for these changes? Why is it, Abdulilah, why is it that in December 2017, 5 months after the meeting in Tooting, where you ruled that all allegations were unfounded, why is it that you were recorded showing your ignorance of the documents that prove that the Shura were guilty of the allegations made against them? Abdulilah, how do you free the Shura of all allegations made against them while you are ignorant of the evidences against them? So what did you judge based upon, Abdulilah? It is documented that you have agreed that any allegation of stolen dawah money is unfounded. So we want to know, how could you arrive at this conclusion when those who were making the allegation were not present, and nor did you read the detailed evidences? What sort of judge sits in a meeting with one party and passes a ruling without seeing what the other party has of detailed evidence? What sort of judge does not base his ruling on the evidences? What sort of judge is heard on audio, not knowing what is in the documents, and then confidently states that the evidences were not substantiated as was spread? Fair judgment, you say? Not defending falsehood, you say? What sort of judge rules that any allegation that money was stolen is unfounded, and then he says that the accused should give money back, and then he agrees that it should go to his own masjid, and then he agrees to give back £10 just to show some remorse? Fair judgment, you say? What sort of judge is a previous co-defendant to those whom he's judging against? Abdulilah Lahmāmi has admitted that he allowed AbuZaid and Shahid to use the Markaz Masjid charity number to fraud the government so they can get a massive deduction or reduction on the council tax bill. What a clear conflict of interest. Shame on you all. Some serious concerns and some serious questions that we are not receiving answers for. And this is exactly what we meant when we said that we shall reveal more proof of this attempted cover-up. And it is for this reason that we decided to record the likes of Abdulilah, due to the clear games and the lies and the trickery and the deception that we have seen from him and his likes. And bi'idhnillah, we shall continue to expose them for what they have done, without taking into regard their brothers and their honor. And we, inshallah ta'ala, will continue to expose them, that perhaps our brothers and our sisters will learn from this, and you will see things for what they are, and you will not fall into taqleed and blind trust. And we advise them with following the book and the sunnah with evidences, and not to follow the self-appointed judges in the West who are not fit for the role that they give themselves. And if anybody is in doubt to what we have mentioned, then ask them to refute what we are saying. And ask them regarding the government funding. And ask them about the cases of harshness. And ask them about their judgments. And ask them about their stances. And ask them for their evidences against their brothers whom they've approved boycotting. And ask them which alim they consulted. We dare you. Ask them if it's truly the haqq that you desire. And do not be sufficed with, we know better. Don't lend your ear to shubuhat. These are youth. No, be firm and demand the evidences, demand the adillah that you are entitled to. A title does not make you exempt from providing evidence or followed blindly. And bi'idhnillah, on that, we shall conclude. And in our final last two audios, we will deal with the recent audio released by Abu Hakim, and then finally the rant by Abu Khadeejah. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.